like it was yesterday when we closed the show and we went home, and we never in our wildest dream would have thought that something like this would have happened. Well, we cannot say that life is boring, that's for sure, because we had a very rough ride for a while, and it's not over yet. That's the bad news. I was talking this morning to a friend here in the industry, and he was saying, we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I said, well, no, I think we see it, but it's very, very, very far out. We basically just came out of one tunnel, and we immediately entered another one. And so, even though none of us was prepared to face what we went through, we all kind of managed. Unfortunately, we lost some friends along the way, and some businesses suffered more than others. But eventually, life goes on, and we went back to our business. Business as usual? No, I don't think we can say that, and I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon. In a way, going back to the way things were before all this happened may not even be what we aspired to, because there were things that could have been improved, and we have a chance now to make them better. Who was Churchill who said that it would be a waste not to make good use of a big change, of a drastic change like this. Yeah. And we are in a moment now where a lot of things have happened. I made a very rough graphic last night when I was trying to prepare for this, and I was basically looking at the way the business was, and I think before COVID started, it was, they say the line was like this, that when COVID hit, it went down to the bottom, zero. Everything stopped. People stopped producing. The inventory levels went to zero. A lot of factories shut down completely. Then retailers opened up again, and then everybody rushed to place orders all at the same time, all for the same goods, all for the same delivery. And it doesn't take a genius in economics to figure out that that's going to create obviously a lot of pressure. And if you have a demand that is exceeding the capacity, what happens? The first thing that happens is that prices go up. Then at the same time, everybody wanted the goods delivered right away because they had no inventory. And so guess what? Shipping charges went through the roof. We have an alien.
Yeah.
So shipping costs went through the roof. It was impossible to find containers. It was impossible to justify, to even quote for a shipping, because we had no idea where the prices were going. At the same time, we had, so oil prices went up, cotton prices went up because the demand went up all at the same time. And then guess what? Then a war started. So on top of everything else that we were already going through, we have another variant that none of us was expecting. So there's, well, I think it's fair to say there's a lot of instability, and instability doesn't help the business, and instability creates more instability. It doesn't create any sense of confidence in anybody, not in the end user, not in the manufacturer, not in the raw material supplier. So we're dealing with a lot of these factors. So the first thing that I would like to our panelists here to give their impression on is how they think that this post-COVID impact and this impact on the orders and on the shipping affected their own business.
Yeah, maybe to just to add what Stefano is saying on particularly on this logistics and shipping. Pre-COVID, there was never a consideration given to the logistic cost which is involved. It used to be hardly, say, less than 1% maybe of the total cost of the product which is going to get shipped, whether it is raw material as a fiber or whether it is a finished product as a garment. Post-COVID, particularly in say Q4 of 2020, when the first wave was over, and the things were completely different with regard to logistics. Everybody wanted everything just in time, and there were surprises like why it is not happening. And that is when the things started changing on logistics, and it become an integral part of everybody in the supply chain to look specifically into logistics, plan it in advance, give projections in time, so that they get their goods in time. At the same time, they are also able to ship out their things in time, which was considered to be easily available at the earlier stage. And this is where the entire industry has slowly adopted to it, and now it has become a part and parcel to consider logistic as a very important part for planning everything. Meeting with customer is as important, as good as you are planning your logistics. So to that extent, the importance to the logistics as well as maintaining the inventory, both at the raw material level, at the finished good level, that has been taken place. This is a major change which has happened. And with the uncertainties continuing, this is something which is going to stay in the industry for forever. That's what, my summation here.
Thank you. Subir?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, while he said rightly that the logistic lead time became unmanageably high and unpredictable, at the same point of time, the costs of all commodity, which is getting into, if you're talking about primarily denim, starting with cotton or ending with cotton, indigo, all dyes, chemical, everything went up. When logistic goes up and becomes unpredictable, everybody has to stockpile more. So the load of on-finance need for the whole value chain, fashion value chain, is at the moment unmanageably high. I think starting with the spinner who's holding cotton, the weaver, and denim manufacturer to garment manufacturer to brand. So the logistic time has actually had an immense impact on need for finance, which is significantly higher for same value delivery. And the retailers are now able to increase retail price, they're scared what will happen. So the margin pressure due to this logistic and cost pressure is immense at the moment. Hope next 3 months' time we start looking at some correction happening.
Thank you. From the brand, Sartaj?
I think where the world is talking of sustainability and everybody is working towards sustainability, but at the back end, too much of volatility is actually taking the sustainability off. Whether it in terms of like what Subir said, we had a dye stuff shortage right in the beginning after the COVID opened up, and then we heard yarns going up and then the pricing going up. And the most interesting thing was nobody was able to predict how the prices will be. So it was almost like every day and every week. And as you understand, the whole basis of apparel business especially, and all the businesses I would say, is a product development. So product development happens actually a year and a half in advance, where whatever has been your range architecture, based on that, when you start developing and there's no commitment how the prices will be, so it actually starts impacting the whole business, and the uncertainty becomes bigger and bigger with time.
Thank you. Mr. Bharat?
So it's like pre-COVID, COVID, and post-COVID. So to sum up, it's the bust and the boom time. And we are entering in a situation where, whether it is the boom time or whether it is the steadiness of the market, China has always been the mover and the shaker of the entire industry, and particularly the commodity and the textiles. So there has been multiple factors which has created this boom and the bust, or the bust and the boom. And the results are like, first, the COVID, which really created a scare because it was never ever encountered by our generation, and it was something totally new. It created, usually the textile has, every value chain is carrying some inventory or some sort of things, at every level, depending on the situation of market. With the COVID, the entire supply chain got dried up out of fear, out of whatever it is, because it was a matter of survival, and nobody could predict that what's going to happen. Even the ITMF surveys, which they have been conducting regularly, if you see the boom which came in was never ever predicted, even by the stalwarts of the industry, because things started happening in a much faster manner. Xinjiang cotton ban is one of the root cause of what the cotton prices are today, because out of 25 million metric tons of cotton, 5 million metric ton comes out of Xinjiang. And that cotton went out of the circulation because of the US ban on China thing. So like this, there are many things which is happening, and over a period of time we'll talk more about it. And on the shipping and on the logistics and shipping, again the event which was the Suez Canal blockade was the first trigger. Subsequently the entire world order in terms of the empty container movement and all happened, and that created one more thing. So many things happened in a manner very quick, very soon, and that is what we have encountered. And we wish, we should be able to do things better. But okay, it's an unpredictable world, and our topic says volatility. Volatility is life.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Actually, it's a good point what you have mentioned. The cost increase. The cost increase is not just was not just driven by high demand. I think was driven also from, let's say, was affected from several other factors. So you mentioned, let's say, part of, let's say, the cotton, which suddenly was missing on the market. Like, or if you look at carriers, which went to bankruptcy, so then was suddenly a shortage of vessel. But I mean, what you were saying at the beginning, let's say the logistic cost, which became, let's say, an important part of, let's say, the costing. We have to consider that the logistic cost impacted the entire value chain. So starting from, let's say, from raw materials, fabrics, garments, and we all know that, let's say, the textile value chain often is very fragmented. So basically we are shipping yarn, fabric, garment from one country to the other, to the continent to the other. And all this movement, they will have nowadays a huge impact in terms of logistic cost. And this part can be neglected anymore. So then this is forcing people now to, let's say, to look at more, to concentrate, let's say, the sourcing from one side to minimize the risk, but from the other side also for costing reasons.
Thank you, Fabrizio. If I wanted to be the devil's advocate, referring to your point on Xinjiang cotton, I don't think that cotton disappeared from the market. I think by magic, it changed the origin, and it's still very much somewhere in the supply chain, and eventually it pops up here and there. Unfortunately, we don't have a very strong traceability system in place. We're slowly getting there, but I don't think it just disappeared into thin air. It's pretty much still there. There's many things we don't know. In a time like this, there's a lot of obviously uncertainty. A few things we know for sure: the prices of most of the raw material that we use in the logistics has gone up. We don't know where they're going. We don't know if they're coming back down anytime soon. If you guys know, please tell me, because I have no idea. If I had a crystal ball, well, I would not be here. Actually, I would be playing the lottery and then living on the beach somewhere. But so we don't know where they're going, but we know that now they're much higher than they used to be. So our retailers, the people at the end who are deciding what price hits the market, are very, very reluctant to change their prices. It's a funny situation that we live in, where the price of our jeans is never going up. Like, if you look at the last 20 years, the prices of houses have gone up, cars have gone up, coffee has gone up. Like everything that we buy, we expect them to go up. But jeans, oh no, God forbid. We cannot increase the price of a jean by $1, because otherwise people will stop buying completely. So the margins are obviously getting squeezed. And who's getting squeezed? Well, I think it's a lot of you guys are getting squeezed. So let me know what's happening with you guys and how you see going forward. I think prices of cotton, we'll have to wait at least until October, until the last crop, to know exactly where they're going. If the demand slows down, which it looks like it is slowing down a bit now, so that might affect them in the shorter term. Oil prices will have to come down eventually. The oil companies are making money like never before. I was reading yesterday, Exxon doubled their revenues compared to last year. All of them have never seen profits as high as now. And all of us suckers, we're just paying more money at the pump for gas. So eventually that is going to change. But I'd like to know from you guys, how much is this affecting your...
I think the another thing which will add to volatility is that when the demand went up a year ago, I'm sure a lot of spinning mills and mills, the capacities they started building up. And if the demand kind of goes down, the capacities are built up, so that again creates another bottleneck.
Of course.
Because then you create excess raw material, a lot of working capital goes into it, and then demand goes down. So I think there's this lag effect which is called pilot-induced oscillation in flying.
Yeah.
It's going to stay for some time till...
Oh, I think so, yeah. We have a bumpy ride ahead.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you guys deal with the squeeze that...
Particularly on a squeeze, of course there has been cost escalations for everybody. Either it's a raw material or it's a conversion which mills are doing at the spinning stage, weaving stage, processing stage. The fact remains that, whether it is cotton based product or whether it is any other fiber based product, the contribution of raw material in the finished product remains maximum to the extent of anything between starting from 60% going up to the extent of say 75%. So whenever this thing happens, the maximum pressure comes to the raw material, because if that is going to get on a better side, the things are going to get adopted accordingly. However, what we also understand from the consumer perspective when we do this analysis and studies, once the markets reopened post-COVID, particularly after the first wave and second wave, the prices of all regular commodities also have moved up, whether it is electronics, whether it is your regular consumables, whether it is automotives, everything has moved up. So to certain extent, there has been a adaptability when the prices of apparels at the retail level also moved up a little bit. And that is how the whole textile industry has adopted to this change, and then things are moving on. And everybody, like whether it is a raw material fiber producer or spinner or dyer and finisher, they have to adapt to this situation to optimize it in a proper way, whether it is their fixed cost, whether it's their variable cost, and then move on with that. Like there was a boom, but and you mentioned that a balance sheet of some of the companies, they were very good for the year of 21, but then it has actually compensated what they have lost in year 19 and 20 to make it as a at the level playing thing. And now the things are moving on a bit of a smoothly. So that's how the effect is there. And so that is what my summary on everybody getting squeezed at the different levels to adapt to the situation. Maybe spinning mills would not be in a position to enjoy kind of a conversion margins they were enjoying pre-COVID level. Same is the situation with the dyeing and finishing mills, kind of a comfort level they had to operate in terms of keeping the inventory of the goods and doing the things, putting the investments in new product developments and R&D. That is also, getting squeezed to adopt to this new way of working. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Subir?
Yeah, these cost waves hits every product, every industry. What is different for apparel or mainly denim, fashion denim market is we have waves coming, which is the cost waves. Sometime 2013 it was only cotton. This year it is every commodity, dyes, chemicals, fuel and cotton. And that gives, and the upper limit is at the price the brands are retailing, so at the price they're willing to buy. That's the upper limit. So when the wave comes up, the oxygen available for breathing for the whole value chain becomes less. So when you're squeezed you should learn how to live with less oxygen. I think that's what the learning. It was back in 13, I remember vividly. And now it is even worse because there was a sharp spike and came down also sharply. Now it is a sharp spike, not as sharp as that, but it's not coming down. So I think is re-engineering of product, and the brands has to realize that you cannot retain a $10 pair of jeans at $10 forever.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Sartaj, do you see pressure on margins as well?
Yeah, pressure on margins, of course. The market, people like to predict prices, though the volatility of everything else is never taken into it, but you are already predicting your sales price 1 year in advance. So, that's where the margin pressure comes in. The input cost keeps going up and the sale prices don't go up by that level, because that's how the budgeting happens. Unless we change our budgeting formats to 3 months and then align everything. So I think that's where the margin pressures come in.
Yep. Thank you.
So clearly it has created lots of uncertainty, and that uncertainty led to the volatility which we have seen, which is an unprecedented. The squeeze has come from everybody. Of course, initially the spinning has the dream run. All the cotton spinners across have never seen this type of situation, which comes once in 10 years or so. So they had a good run, and of course it was because the yarn prices were getting absorbed. So supply chain disruption created a situation where everybody was getting into uncharted territory. It also created a situation which, again, because the ban on Chinese product or Chinese cotton and the Chinese product coming out of that has been one more reason where 25 million metric ton out of that 4 million metric ton goes away. 20 million metric ton is the availability there, but the demand went up so high, and it created the mismatch. It also created a situation where the supply chain cost or the logistic cost also doubled and tripled. So all this cumulative effect created a situation whereby the entire chain has suffered, or they have been squeezed. Everybody tried to float above the level, but yes, getting into this part has been a little unprecedented, and I think that's it.
Yeah, yes, actually, what you all mentioned, yes, the entire value chain got squeezed. Everybody was forced to absorb part of this increase. And actually, let's say this cost increase was that quick and that sudden that anyone could take any action in order to reduce cost or to try to let's say to manage. So in a different way than trying to pass this cost along the value chain. So this is actually was we were all forced. Then for sure, I don't think that I think that none of us was able to pass fully this cost along the value chain. So then, but we were forced to do it because none of us, I believe, that has such a big margin to afford such a cost increase. So then this is, and actually now what we see as consequence of this huge cost increase, so that because as we said, we managed to pass partially this cost. Part of it we are absorbing, but we don't have that much space. So then now, over the time we are trying to see how to cut this cost. And what we see is actually that people are looking at let's say the garment, the fabric, the composition. And they try to play with the composition, and I'm saying they are trying to impoverish the garment just to cut cost. And in my view, this is is a pity that is going in this direction, because we know that the consumer, they are looking for performance, for durability, for quality garment. And actually, because of this situation, we are going in the opposite direction. So this is actually what is happening these days. And I believe that, let's say, the current economic situation, where people, will have less money available to spend, basically will make people more conscious on what they are going to buy. So basically, they will look for more, let's say, quality garments, durable garments, maybe less fashionable garment, but garment which they can wear maybe more seasons. And if, let's say, the trade is moving in the other direction, actually it's not matching with what the consumer they are expecting. So then I think that the challenge will be how to try to find the right balance, to keep the cost under control and deliver to the consumer what they are looking for and what they need, actually, for the money they have available to spend.
Thank you. You're taking me actually to the next point that I wanted to cover. And I realize that we are basically out of time, but I'd like to spend another couple of minutes. I know we could talk about it for hours. We don't want to do. They definitely don't want to listen to us babbling for hours and hours about this. There's a couple of points that I wanted to cover really quickly, so maybe you just give me like a 2-word answer on both, and then we can wrap it up and let everybody go. One is, in light of everything that we've talked about now, because of all this pressure on margin, because of all the pressure on price increases, something has to go. So people will be cutting corners somewhere. In your mind, do you think we're going to see repercussions on quality, on investment in sustainability, in research and development, or in marketing expenditure? Because people will have to cut costs somewhere in these groups. So if you can very quickly give me your opinion on this.
Yeah, definitely there's going to be impact on all this, because as I mentioned in earlier statement, there has to be squeeze has to come from cost optimization, and which will have definitely the impact on wherever cost reduction is possible, whether it is production or whether it is promotional activities. So meticulously, wherever the returns are going to be better, on those aspects only the expenditure is going to happen, whether it is research and development or innovation, new products. However, coming to the quality front, that is the area where nobody would like to compromise, because industry is set with that particular quality for the years together, and then any big compromise happening there on the quality front, this would rather make the things difficult to correct in the future. So rather, approach here from the entire industry, which we are observing, is to get the things absorbed, work with the thin margins, give the right product to the industry. That would have been always approach, and industry is adopting to this. That's my submission.
See, such challenging times actually put more focus on innovation. I think a lot of innovation happens when challenges thrown onto the industry. So I believe while we have less oxygen, as I was talking, so you have to breathe less. You have to conserve energy, but I don't think we should stop innovating. And I see a lot of good thing happening on alternate fiber usage, or maybe reinventing whether it's a 12-ounce fabric can become a 10.75 ounce. That's good point and good percentage saving. So I think innovation should not stop, but should be more focused onto the right objective.
Yeah, I also think they're very difficult times, because at one point the consumer is expecting a lot. And at the same time there's a price pressures on almost everything. So sometimes I feel these kind of difficult times also throw up some unexpected things which you may have not seen, whether it is innovation in technology, whether the processes will change, maybe dyeing processes, maybe way we make yarns, way we make garments. So possibly a lot of new things will happen, will come out of it, because I completely agree with it. We have seen the more value we add to the product, the more consumer likes it. There is a consumer, and there's a clear demarcation which may happen in the market between maybe have and have nots, but still I think innovation will win in the end and things may emerge.
Thank you.
So, situation like this, what we have encountered in last 2 years is the hotbed, whereby, lots of new things starts happening. You get into a new normal, you get into a different mode of thinking. So this particular COVID and post-COVID situation and the subsequent situation which is emerging is getting us all into that mode, a mode where we all think, where we have a pressure on our margins, and that's where we try to do within our boardroom and outside and in a forum like this, discuss and say that, okay, what is next and how are we going to do the next thing? Now, within this scenario, which is, like it happens every 10 years, 15 years, like we had seen in 2008 and 9 with subprime crisis, and then in 2012, and now we have seen, yes, unprecedented thing, unexpected thing was the COVID and the impact of the COVID. But yes, these are the times where the textile industry has always risen to the level, and the denim and the jeans are something where in a situation like this has always come out a winner. So I have a strong feeling that, the newness of everything will happen. Now, the change or the better part which is there, where again from the denim perspective or the jeans perspective I am talking about, is the choice of fiber available. So if we talk of 2008 or like say 10, 15 years back, now the range of fiber available and the R&D which has gone into it to make it much more functional, much more versatile, much more, fashionable is the choice available. And that's where the consumer and the retailers and brands are also getting into it. So something where it used to be only tidbits is now happening as a momentum. It is happening as a thing where we look forward to the next level of the innovation and all which will happen. And nothing could be better than, like all of us sitting together and each one complementing and trying to create. Because end of the day, the textile, the garments, the denim, and are the fashions of the forever.
So I will close in few words. Actually, in my view, there is no compromise on innovation, on quality, on sustainability. Actually, what the industry has to do is to try to optimize the processes. What we were saying before, maybe look at the sourcing value chain, try to optimize the sourcing value chain, to optimize the processes, and then I think what we have value a lot in this difficult time, I think, is the collaboration, the partnership. I think that, during this difficult time, people has realized that having good partner has a great value. And I think that this is what we have also to work together, to be more close together. And I think for me, is the only way to go out from this difficult time all together with a smile on our face.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Now, really quickly, because we need to wrap up. I don't want them to kick us out. In times of uncertainty and volatility, what people try to do is minimize the risk, of course. And one of the solutions that people are talking about a lot today is the nearshoring. So trying to bring production closer to home to reduce the risk that we have all encountered in the last couple of years. In your opinion, and really I want a very, very short, very quick answer, do you think this is something that is viable, that is going to happen, and that is going to be the new reality going forward? Or do you think this is only something that people are talking about today, but it's not really realistic?
But actually, we see already some movement in that direction. We see investment already. Here in India, we see in Pakistan, we see in Bangladesh, we see in Europe. So, I mean, mills which are becoming more vertical, Bangladesh backwards in the value chain, other countries in another direction. But yes, it's definitely the way it will go.
Yes, the new order comes in like just not very far away in 2005 when we had the quota-free regime, and it really changed the way we did business. And it became a global world and the globalization, and the whole thing used to be like you grow cotton in India, you spin it somewhere in China, you make garments somewhere, and you have a consumer somewhere. Okay, those were the 15, 20 years which we did. Now with the new situation which is emerging, which is the way the world moves and the new normal emerges, is this the nearby shoring. And then that type of sourcing which happens, like if you say already Bangladesh is an extension of India in terms of the import of cotton which they do, the spinning capacity they have added, otherwise from garments they have moved into that part. Then we have seen, you know, Pakistan which is there, which has been also, of course, with the Indian governments, our rules and regulation where we are not able to trade with that. But of course they themselves have come out with a situation, same as Vietnam. So we are going to see lots of, you know, like collaboration within the thing. And same way, we should not be surprised if the US and the good old Mexico and NAFTA come up, you know, you never.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure the dynamics will change because these kind of, so there's going to be reset, what I would say. So reset will, across the world, people will think how to manage things in a different way. And obviously you will see these kind of new ideas emerge. And they always emerge, and there's always something new, and then you wonder, why didn't we do it in the past? So that will happen.
Yeah, we need to adapt.
You know, nearshoring is an essential part, but how near is the question. And India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka are this far off compared to the width and breadth of China. I think that's important is having a much more smarter logistic to have free movement within these 4 countries. Barring the political part of it. So it should be 5 days in Bangladesh, so it is as faster than many parts from between China. So while nearshoring should have a hub of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China and Latin American countries, so that should be, and cotton growing countries should be feeding this. Bangladesh has more strength in garment manufacturing, India has more strength in textile. So to take advantage of these, I think like H&M has a policy of preferably sourcing fabric for garment manufacturing in the same country. So I don't believe same country politically is important. It's the distance and logistic cause is what is.
Right.
Yeah, looking at time, I will keep it very short.
Thank you.
Things are changing for sure, and integrations are happening. At the same time, it's a mix of getting something manufactured close to the market, and keeping the rest coming from the textile hub. Textile hub, what Subir mentioned, is like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Vietnam, which is coming up very, very strongly here. So that's the change, and it's getting implemented now. This was getting thought of pre-COVID also, but COVID has created a situation, and after that the logistic issues, the cost escalations which has happened in the different areas have only fueled this to happen in a faster way and efficient way.
Thank you. Yeah, there's no doubt that we're all learning a lot from this experience. And, when people talk about Darwin and the survival of the fittest, I think it's a wrong interpretation. It's not really the survival of the strongest. It's always the survival of the most adaptable. And I think the ones here who can adapt the best to the new situation, to the new world order, let's call it this way, I think are the ones who are going to not only survive but thrive throughout this crisis. So having said that, I want to thank all of the panelists. Thank you very much for your contribution. Most interesting conversation. Thank you, of course, for your patience. Enjoy the rest of the show, and I'm sure we'll see each other again very soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.